the most conflicting feeling for a follower of true crime is an undeniable fascination with the morbid. The sense that perhaps if you develop a certain level of interest in the perpetrator—
Oh fuck, let me talk about, let me tweet out that we are live and alive. Let me tweet it that we fucking live and alive. Yo, it's true crime murder time. Get in for murder. Trigger warning. www. Dude, we went, I am such a basic bitch, dude. I actually went from watching reality TV about, watching like dating reality TV shows to watching true crime. And chat just came along with me. You guys are also basic bitches. We're just all a bunch of basic bitches, dude. Holy shit, Barron Trump is fucking massive now, dude. What the fuck? My man is hitting puberty and he's already 6'7". Good job. That's crazy. Defend Barron Trump at all costs, boys. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. I bet Trump loves him more than everyone else. Like, he loves him the most out of all of his children, for sure. Because he's so tall.
The only good reality TV I watch is Survivor.
Here you go, boys. Here's the fucking tweet. Lil Krish writing under my tweet. Please let me see chat. Please let me see chat, he says. Bro, why are you fucking peppering me with gift subs all day? You know that's not a way to get your chat privileges back. Oh, he wrote an essay. What the fuck? Motherfucker wrote an essay. Oh my god, bro. Hello, Hasan. I was recently banned from your Twitch chat for spamming a rice gum video past when you told me to stop and time me out for a lenient minute. I was permanently banned in the chat room and cannot type nor see the chat. This deeply saddens me as I enjoy typing in your chat and sending you links for that dopamine hit. Bro, actual MLA format, dude. Oh god, there's no one else to watch currently as Forsen is playing a card game and the Juicer has been participating in adult roleplay for a year, so this was my only form of entertainment. I understand what I did was annoying and messed with the next segue of content, but I believe if I am reinstated in the virtual chat room, I will not only obey the guidelines, but make it a better place. In my first paragraph, I will provide to you why what I did was wrong and mess with the stream. Then in the next paragraph, I will explain how I can contribute beneficially up.
I love
That's
you.
it. That's not how you spell, dude. And I will end with a conclusion paragraph. If you don't know I'm banned by the end of this essay, that is a little pago, but I understand. When I spammed the rice gum link past when you told me to stop, I understand I was participating in the continuation of a segue you wish to end. I should have respected that you wish to end the drama segue and move on, but instead I continued spamming that link. When you timed me out for a minute, I spammed it twice more as I thought it would be funny. I did not see how this was disrupting the flow of the chat room and causing incredible annoyance to you. I thought it was kind of a meme for me to spam links non-stop, but it is kind of addicting, almost like a game, to time it right, so you click the link. But I see now, I sabotage the overall stream experience for my personal gratification. This is literally a daycare. It is actually a daycare. And that is permaban worthy. I understand the implications of my wrongdoing, and I'm immensely sorry for continuing to engage in such rambunctious behavior after you had only timed me out for 1 minute. Now I will explain why I can further contribute beneficially. I believe that by spamming links in the appropriate times in the chat room, I can help you easily reach sources of information. If you're currently talking about a topic, I can use my link spamming skill.
Today,
I give up. I'm unbanning him, dude. Oh, God. What a little baby. Is it just Little Krish with one S? Or one H? What's his username? I don't even know what his fucking username is. Which one? It's funny because he has so many socks, but he didn't know that his when he gets banned, his socks also can't type. Okay, here it is. There you go. I believe that by spamming links, therefore I can help in the nuance of the conversations you have in your stream and add to the experience by deepening the complexity of the argument. By spamming certain drama links, this will help you get on LSF and boost your viewership, which would all be my doing. I have been link spamming for many years now, and my skills should not be taken lightly. I've made the Juicer, 4-Cent Pokemon, and Ice Poseidon click on my link at one point. Overall, my link spamming skills will add to the complexity and depth of the conversations you have with your chat, as well as boost your career. Overall, I recommend you unban me as I recognize my faults of not spamming links at appropriate times, which derailed the overall chat room experience. By unbanning me, I will not behave properly, but improve the chat room experience. Again, this is my only form of entertainment recently, so please unban and let us work our mutually beneficial relationship. Also, it's the top of the hour, Pago tomato time. Where are the references? Where are the fucking citations, dude? I do not see sources cited. You might have plagiarized this entire essay. Wow. Time to get banned again. The ban hammer's coming in. I'm putting this in Turnitin. Wait, are you going to grade it? He needs to be graded? I already fucking unbanned him. Turnitin.com.
Of evil deeds, you may be guilty of unwittingly lending them a sort of undeserved gravitas. But despite how disturbing that thought may be, there is just no escaping that there are some cases where the criminals at the center of them are, no matter how depraved, utterly captivating.
What?
Today's is not one of those cases. This is Basil Borutski. Basil Borutski is not particularly intelligent, nor is he particularly stupid. He is not particularly tall, nor is he particularly short. He is not particularly well...
How do you know about that? Are you on college? Turnitin.com? Motherfucker, I went to college. Like, you know, just because I'm 29 doesn't mean that at some point in time I wasn't college aged and went to college.
Well kempt, nor is he particularly scruffy. One might say of Basil Borutski that the most remarkable thing about him is precisely how remarkably unremarkable he is. The only notable thing about him is that he is responsible for what has been sometimes described as one of the worst acts of domestic violence in Canada's history, though the term domestic violence doesn't really do justice to the gravity of his crimes. On September 22nd of 2015, Basil Borutski murdered 3 women he had grievances with in a spree killing that spanned the course of several hours and miles. At 7:30 a.m. he left his apartment, drove to the cottage of 66-year-old Carol Culluton, and strangled her to death with a television cable. He then drove 20 miles to the Wilno home of 36-year-old Anastasia Kuzik and fired a shotgun into her neck.
I love these because, like, I think Matt Orchard, who's a friend of the show, by the way, now we know. I think he has a bone to pick with Canada. Trying to make Canada look like it's the worst Commonwealth. That's why he only does murders that happen in Canada.
Kuzik's sister, Eva, was also in the house at the time and managed to run to safety and call the police. Borutski then drove another 20 miles to the Foymount Road farmhouse residence of his former partner, 48-year-old Natalie Warmerdam, who he also shot in the neck after chasing her through the house. He then continued driving for a time and eventually surrendered himself to officers in a field off of Kinburn Side Road in Kinburn, Ontario. The following morning, he is interviewed by Detective Sergeant Kaylee O'Neill.
Detective.
The interview could be summarised as nearly 5 hours of contemptible self-pity and tiresome ranting. As a result, even a heavily abridged version may be somewhat of a slog to get through. That being said, it's still an interesting case study of how an individual can be both profoundly wicked and extremely boring all at the same time.
Wicked. Profoundly wicked.
Your food and coffee on the left there. What I want to make sure is that there's no misunderstanding about what we're here talking about today. And really all I want to know is what's your understanding of why we're here right now, Basil? Is it okay to call you Basil? Is that what you normally go by?
No, Basil.
Basil?
Here we get our first glimpse into Basil Borutski's underlying narcissism. Most people unfortunate enough to be named after a culinary herb would not go out of their way to correct someone for having a less embarrassing interpretation. Basil, however, is insistent that Detective O'Neill gets his stupid name right. O'Neill then proceeds to cover his bases by making sure Borutski understands his right to consult with counsel under Canada's Charter of Rights and Freedoms. A simple formality that Borutski draws out for several minutes with a series of terse and
Oh man, just ripped him, dude. Imagine being named after a herb.
evasive answers to simple questions, such as
can't
do
do a
you
Kiwi
understand
accent,
and
dude.
does that make sense?
So if you'd like to speak with a lawyer at any time today, Basil, you can just let me know and I can make that happen for you. Okay?
This just fell on its own. And I don't know why. What does that mean, chatters? It's always on top of the shungite. What the fuck does that mean? All right, anyway, let's keep going.
So would you like to talk to one right now?
No point, I just...
There's no point
Bit
right now.
human. It's a bit human.
If you change your mind and you decide you'd like to talk to one later, will you let me know? Does that seem fair?
I'll let somebody know.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you, Basil.
I'll let somebody know.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm here, right? I'm the one that can make that happen for you. So if you let me know, if you change your mind, I'll be more than happy to get a lawyer on the phone for you. Is that fair?
While you're at it, I'd love to be unbanned too. I made one fellatio joke during the Hannity.
Borutski continues to sulk between unnecessarily long pauses, specifically complaining about a history of being maliciously prosecuted and treated poorly by authorities. Detective O'Neill also takes Borutski's medical history, a process which Borutski again insists on making extremely tedious.
Were you able to get any sleep last night?
I have no idea if I slept on some steel bench.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine with my back what that feels like? No humanity whatsoever.
Did you mention anything to the guard about it?
The answer when I mention is that they're not supposed to be comfortable. When I asked them to loosen the handcuff because I had my hand cut off. Who cares?
Is it when you were coming over from Ottawa the cuffs were too tight? Is that what you're saying?
And they left me sitting outside here in the car. I kept telling them I can hardly feel my fingers anymore. My whole hand swollen. No, it's not blue. I don't care. I had my hands cut off. I feel things a little different than what you do.
Aw. Damn, dude. That sucks, brother. Aw, boys. Wait, what did Austin say? Football's coming home. Football's coming home. Hassan noticed me, buggo. Hassan noticed me, buggo. Okay, I fucking notice you. What else do you fucking want from me, buggo? Football's coming home, bruv. Okay, thanks. Well, we're watching Murder now, Austin.
I was only asking for common sense.
Is it fair to say that you're getting that from me now?
Getting what?
Common sense, some courtesy.
No.
And so what have I not done here to?
You're a police officer. I have lots of experience with police officers. I just told you about a car accident and how they treat me, so I don't trust you one little bit.
Okay.
This is insane, dude. Like, he just did a double homicide, got caught for it, and he's complaining about his treatment by a cop. And he's like, dude, I've dealt with cops so many times. Or triple homicide, not even a double. Move
Too
the
much
CC,
time
bro?
has
No, it's a
flown
good
by
place
for
to
me.
have
All
the
about your
CC.
brotherhood. One of you fucks up or lies, the rest of you all hide it.
Doesn't sound like you've had very many positive experiences with policemen.
I've never had a positive experience with a policeman.
Mhm.
If there would have been a positive policeman, my whole life would be different.
Well, what about the experience we're having right now? Is that positive?
I just told you you're a police officer and you're going by that stupid record that you guys made.
If it was a black guy, would you react the same? Or there was literally a fucking black dude that was arrested after a double homicide, including on a cop. And he had killed two people, or one was a cop and one wasn't. And I criticized him for fucking complaining as well, except he also his ass was beaten on top of that. Oh, triple homicide, sorry. If you saw that chatter, would you knock him out? Of course not. I abhor violence and violent behavior. I would never do such a thing.
Aid.
What is this record you're talking about anyway? Do you have a criminal record?
Oh, give me a break.
Borutski's criminal record and the glaring pattern of domestic violence within it has been the source of much criticism toward Canada's correctional system. Though something as extreme and senseless as a triple murder may seem like the sort of thing that nobody could reasonably see coming, many advocates have alleged that in the case of Basil Borutski, something like what transpired on September 22nd was foreseeable, and reasonable measures could have been taken to prevent it. Borutski's first count of battery dates back to 1985, with the alleged victim being his wife at the time, Mary Ann.
Fucking typical, dude. It's always like this, dude. It's always fucking a pattern of domestic abuse.
Mask.
A pattern of fucking domestic abuse that never gets addressed by the fucking police, that ends up with like an actual murder in the end.
Borutski successfully fought the accusation in court and was found not guilty. The couple separated in December of 1993, and Borutski was charged again with assaulting Mask in February of 1994. Again, Borutski was found not guilty. Borutski and Mask somehow reconciled several years later, and then permanently separated in August of 2008 after yet another alleged act of domestic violence, in addition to death threats from Borutski. Again, Borutski walked, but this time in exchange for agreeing to sign a peace bond. Mask alleged during court proceedings in 2011 that Borutski's acquittal of the 94 assault was due to her being coerced by Borutski into withdrawing her accusations. A very believable claim, given at one point during their divorce proceedings, Borutski produced a contract he claimed Mask had voluntarily written and signed in 1994, wherein she surrendered full custody of their children to him and took responsibility for making up her previous accusations. The wording in the document rings so strongly of Borutski's perspective that it's genuinely farcical to think he could have believed it would ever be taken as genuine, and it was of course disregarded by the judge. All of this only begins to scrape the surface of Borutski's history of abuse, and Mary Ann Mask wasn't even one of the targets of his killing spree. We'll unpack the sordid details related to his deceased victims as they come up in the interrogation.
Well, one of the reasons I'm also here, Basil, is that I'm sure you're aware of the gravity of the situation and the seriousness of this investigation. I certainly am, given that you've been arrested for these crimes. And there are no more serious crimes than murder.
I didn't murder anybody.
That's right, you killed somebody. Correct? Killed 3 people, actually. What's the difference between killing and murder?
Thou shalt not murder. Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
This is the cornerstone of Borutski's moral defense that he derives from amateur theology. The argument is fairly simple and completely asinine. In some versions of the Bible, such as the Torah, the commandment widely known as "thou shalt not kill" actually reads "you shall not murder." It is this version which Borutski has designated as the correct one, and he contends the wording absolves him of any sin in carrying out the killings of his 3 victims. The act of killing is the mere ending of any given being's life, whether that be an animal or a person, an innocent or a sinner. Murder, however, must be the killing of an innocent. Borutski contends that his victims were not innocent, as they wronged him in numerous ways, including lying about him in court for financial gain. Leaving aside his characterizations of their actions, can be safely assumed to be delusional and or deliberately dishonest. His biblical justification is still seriously flawed. For one, while it is true that the Bible clearly sanctions killing under certain circumstances, it does not permit any one individual to take it upon themselves to act as judge, jury, and executioner. Another glaring issue is that if a literalist interpretation of killing offences from the Bible were to be adopted in modern times, even government-sanctioned executions would quickly begin to get severely out of control. Sins such as murder and bearing false witness are not the only acts deemed worthy of the death penalty in Scripture. A multitude of other offences, including homosexuality and fortune-telling, are also listed as high enough crimes to put one on the chopping block.
So one of the reasons I'm here is to give you this opportunity to explain why you killed these 3 girls.
You're putting words in my mouth.
I haven't said anything. I just asked you a simple question. Why did you kill these girls? That's it.
You're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say that.
Which words am I putting in your mouth?
What you just said.
Well, I can't really put a question in your mouth when I'm asking it. And it's interesting how you made the distinction between murder and killing. What that would suggest is that you have some kind of justification for what you've done, which it's also been my experience, is always the case. In my career, I've not spoken to one killer who woke up that day and decided they were going to go out and kill somebody. Virtually every single one of them found themselves in a set of circumstances beyond their control, and they reacted, typically poorly, and something happened. There's always an excuse, there's always a reason why. And whether you choose to acknowledge it or not, your opportunity to tell the why is important. Because like I said, what that does is it allows the community to get some understanding of why you did these things. Because on the surface, people just wonder and they will naturally gravitate to what they think is the worst in people. But when you explain why you did these things, then people can get an appreciation for how the situation developed, and sometimes they can even see themselves in that situation. Geez, if that was me, I may have reacted the same way. Now, that only really matters to somebody who cares what anyone thinks about them, which is why I asked you that question initially. It's also been my experience that people say they don't care what other people think. That's usually not true. Everyone cares. It's human nature to care. You cared enough to do what you did, so you're going to have a hard time convincing me that you don't care what people think about you. You awake, Basil?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. It don't make any sense at all.
Okay. Do you need me to explain anything?
So
Am I speaking too fast? Am I speaking clearly?
Okay, I'm not hardly this thing.
I'm not sure how extensive your involvement is with police investigations. But basically how they work. They're like a big pie, if you can imagine a big pie. Okay? And the pie is broken into all kinds of different sections.
Detective O'Neill goes into a rather tortured pie analogy, wherein he explains that there are many pieces of the pie of an investigation, and the piece of the pie that Borutski is responsible for is that of the truth, but the other pieces of the pie may wind up proving that his piece of pie was actually filled with lies, which in turn will damage the credibility of his lies. Borutski remains unreceptive.
Now, sometimes this slice of the pie might be empty altogether, because you could do as you're doing right now and choose not to say anything at all. Which is completely fine, because that's your right, and you can do that. But the risk is, again, we go back to all these other sections of the pie, and we use them to prove our case. And there's a chance that you can lose credibility in the end. Now, the third option is that you actually take advantage of this opportunity to tell your side of the story and explain why you took those lives. In which case, the truth stands, because it's the truth, and that's what happened. And then we don't need all these other pieces of the pie to show what happened, because it's your story, and you decided to tell it, as opposed to everyone else making decisions about you and what kind of guy you are. And this is what I want you to think about, Basil.
This is what I want you to do. I want you to look into the past charges against me by those women, and I want you to do that proper investigation from the point of view of what really happened, and then have a retrial, a fair trial, and then we'll talk about reality. So any information you want from me, you can get by simply doing the proper investigation for the past. I was put in jail twice, wrongfully.
If you were looking at this investigation, if you were looking at the allegations against you and the evidence and the content of this case, what would you think about what you've done here and how you're portraying yourself? You're a reasonable guy. What would you make of all this if you were looking at it from the outside in? Would you like to sit back and watch this video of you talking about how, I don't know how many years ago, some investigation went bad for you, some assault investigation, when you're here under arrest for killing 3 women? Is that what you'd like to see on video? Would you like to see on video how nonchalant and non-interested you look for these cameras right now when 3 women are dead because you killed them?
Nonchalant.
Well, I mean, that's the adjective that comes to mind right now.
I'm happy for you. You're not.
You don't have to be happy for me, because what's going to happen is when I'm done here, Basil, when I'm done talking to you, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk out of this room and I'm going to go on to the next case. And I won't give this a second thought, because there's lots of other cases just like this one. This might be a unique situation for you. It's not unique to me at all. It really isn't. And when I walk out of this room, when we're done here today.
Okay, 2 things or 3 things. One, it seems like this guy just did a murder so he could debate, okay? What the fuck was that, like, r/atheist Andy ass, like, God thing that he just dropped? 2, you never want to get called out by Matt Orchard for an analogy, especially you never want that analogy to be called tortured. And lastly, yeah, which, by the way, he's a debate lord. It's obvious, worse than fucking murder, clearly. And the last thing I was going to say is, fuck, I'm forgetting it now. God damn it. There was another thing I wanted to say. Oh, here is a great defense. Are you ready? Here is a great defense. When you're caught after a triple homicide, when you, like, murdered your exes and your wife and shit like that, here's a great defense. Actually, look me up. I am a serial domestic abuser. What a fucking brilliant way to diffuse the situation, my friend. Hey, by the way, look me up. I've done a lot of domestic abuses, okay, in the past, and they're all unlawful. Motherfucker, they just caught you for a triple homicide, dude. What do you there's nothing that solidifies how lawful those domestic abuse cases were than what you just did. Sorry, let's keep going.
Hey, your opportunity to fill in that pie and affect the way people think about you and what you've done is gone.
It's with a liar. Would be with somebody that is supposed to be representing me.
I didn't catch the first part of that, Basil. What about a lawyer? Is going to be representing you?
That would be when I would be telling my story to a lawyer that is interested in representing me.
This is an interesting contradiction in Borutski's words and actions. He states that the circumstances under which he would provide his side of the story would be when talking to a lawyer who has his best interests at heart, which is a very sound approach. But Detective O'Neill has already gone to painful lengths to point out that he has a right to a lawyer, and that he can be set up with one at any point he chooses to request so. Yet still he chooses to sit in this room and share his perspective of how he is the one who has been wronged, albeit in an excruciatingly drawn out manner. This gives away the fact that his ego does in fact desire for his side of the story to be heard by authorities. He just wants to feel in control and make them work for it.
You are not representing me. You are representing evil.
No, I'm representing the truth. I'm representing 3 dead girls, 3 dead women.
If you were, you'd be looking into
2 ex-girlfriends of yours.
3.
3? No, I don't think Natalie was. I think she turned you down, right?
I lived with her for 3 years. What are you talking about? Paid for half the farm. Work on it.
Sorry, Anastasia. is the one that turned you down.
Turned me down.
She's quite a bit younger than you too. You're not the first guy to be turned down though.
I wasn't turned down by Anastasia. I was dating Carl Culleton, and I was working in Anastasia's house.
Okay.
She was a friend, like a daughter. She lied in court.
Sometimes people are not truthful.
A lot. She lied a lot, and the Crown Attorney said, it's okay to lie.
Whether or not Anastasia Kuzik and Basil Borutski ever had a romantic relationship wouldn't have really been material to what Borutski was in court for when Kuzik testified against him. On December 30th of 2013, Borutski had strangled and beaten Kuzik as well as lighting several of her possessions on fire after she told him she wanted him out of her house. He served just over a year in jail for charges of assault and mischief, being released on December 27th of 2014, despite refusing to sign a court order prohibiting him from contacting Kuzik. He also disobeyed court orders to attend counselling, a breach of his probation which he was never pulled up on.
That was her end statement thing. It's okay, some people lie.
So is that why
What's
you...
the point of going to court when it's okay to lie?
So is that why you killed these girls, Basil? Because they're not going to get their comeuppance in court? They're going to lie and they're going to escape responsibility?
If you're a cop, you should know that people that use the system are guilty.
What was done to you
If the community
that hurt you so
wanted to
badly
know,
that you had to
if
do
the
these
community
things?
wanted to know, they would start an independent inquiry and look into the past. How did it ever evolve to get to this? Because Basil Borutski is a kind, caring, God-fearing human being. So how
You
did
know
it
what?
get there? I guess
That is a point we agree on.
we need to go back to the past and find out how could this have happened.
That is a point we agree on. If there's one thing I do know, what people have said about you is you're a kind, caring person, which is why I'm having a difficulty with this contrast in behavior.
Basil Borutski's reputation as a kind and caring person is very mixed. He was indeed known to do kind things, such as free-of-charge handyman work for friends and neighbours, but even in that instance, his actions were sometimes not as virtuous as they may seem on a surface level. For instance, he began building a deck on his first victim, Carol Culleton's cottage, without her permission. That was during a period where he was attempting unsuccessfully to initiate a romantic relationship with her.
Dude, why is it always fucking incels, dude? Like, we need to lock some of these motherfuckers up and just investigate, dude. A dick. He's building a fucking dick. Cheddar. He's building a fucking dick. A dick. A penis.
The psychological manipulation that underlies the
It's not a kind act if you're like forcibly building a dick. A PDO. On a fucking unsuspecting lady's house. I can't.
committing of unwanted charitable acts is very much in line with the sort of behaviour you would expect from a batterer.
They didn't even try to see the truth. Get Basil. And then there's even with Anastasia Kuzik. She sells my tractor. When the police are called, the police officer says, that's stealing, that's theft. When the police officer's called, he says, we're not going to do anything about it. It's a such sensitive situation. Sensitive? She stole my tractor and sold it. What does that make her out to be? And the police protected that theft. Corruption, man, corruption. Another police officer, Miller, are you writing them down?
Yep. Do you know his first name?
No, I never went into it with him.
Pembroke or OBB?
Miller.
Okay.
I got beaten with a baseball bat in the field. I didn't know why I was getting beaten. And it took a year or two later for me to finally find out Natalie Warmerdan was screwing the neighbor while she was married to her husband before I came along. When I came along, he was pissed off. I often wondered why the man didn't like me. I tried to help him. I helped him fix his pool. And then one day I'm getting beaten with a baseball bat because my baler caught fire. I'd done nothing wrong, totally innocent. And I find out it's because all those time I was there, it was because I took his affair girlfriend next door. I had no idea. So I get a beaten with a baseball bat, could have been killed. Miller comes along, and the first thing they say is, Basil, you're under arrest. I said, for what? He said, you're drinking beer. So what? I'm on my own property. I'm having a beer after a fire. And it took the Crown Attorney to look that through and see that it was wrong, and made Miller go back and charge the guy with assault. The guy hit me 3 times with a baseball bat, and finally I got to hit him and broke his nose. Other than that, I would probably be dead. And I ended up charged. Unbelievable. And I'm a cripple. And here's a young guy with a baseball bat beating on me. And in the end, he gets like 6 months probation or something. He beat me with a baseball bat. Attempted murder. But he was beating on Basil Borutski. Makes it okay. I understand. Understand how it works.
Basil, I want to ask you a question. And it's something I ask a lot of people that I talk to because I'm interested in what they think about it. If I was to ask you how you would describe yourself on a day-to-day basis in terms of your truthfulness, and let's say we had a scale of 1 to 10, and a 1 is a person who never tells the truth, constant liar, and a 10 is the perfect angel, someone who speaks nothing but the truth all the time. Realistically, where would you put yourself?
An 8 or a 9 because I do tell what I would call white lies if I have to go around something so as not to hurt somebody, or I may not tell something that I know if I think it's going to hurt my daughter or something, or that kind of stuff. So, but as far as telling the truth about what's really going on, then I'd be just a 10.
Yeah.
I won't lie about anything. I never did. I never lied. Very.
Well, I think there's necessity for those little white lies you're talking about.
My father told me a long time ago, Basil, have you ever heard of anybody getting caught in the truth? And that's what stuck. People get caught in lies. You can't get caught in the truth.
That's true.
Also, my dad said, it's not worth doing if it's not hard to do. What I'm doing is very hard. Very hard. So it's worth doing. I'm trying to show the world how wrong.
Am I cool yet, chat? Who says?
It's wrong what the system done to me. And the system is being used by people. I'm not saying there's not abused women out there, and the system is doing the right thing for them, but there's also so many that are using
What
more
a weaselly liar do?
the system corruptly.
Well, if I'm hearing what you're saying, there's a purpose to this killing, in the burden that you're trying to take on to change society.
It's called justice. I have never had justice in my life.
From what you've told me, I understand how Natalie and Anastasia fit into this, but I don't understand Carol.
It's the very same thing. I was dating Carl Culleton. Anastasia came along. Well, I knew Anastasia way longer than Carl, but I treated Anastasia like a daughter. She was a friend. She lived in my house with her boyfriend. I ended up kind of half moving in. I still maintained my place. But in the winter when it got cold, I ended up staying more and more at her place than at my place. people may have assumed that there was a relationship going on, but they would have to be cuckoo because there was a 20-some-year age difference. And if you don't believe me, simply go and talk to my doctor because
It's so odd to be in a situation where you're caught for a triple homicide, and then the fucking cop asks the dumbest question of all time. He's like, how truthful are you on a scale of 1 to 10? But even dumber to answer like, oh, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham fucking Lincoln, dude. I'm like a 9 or 8, you know. I don't like to hurt people's feelings. It's like, well, what about murder, dude? You think murder hurts people? Because you fucking did that. What was the chatters called? That Hassan's going to come back and immediately pause stream to deliver a take? Wow, dude. Incredible. Incredible fucking, incredible take. Who would have guessed that I would do the most predictable thing on the planet? Okay? Almost as predictable as running the fucking top of the hour ad break 20 minutes early so I can fuck you guys over, okay? And get one before you shove a segue in there with a bad take. Woo! Guess not so predictable now, baby. Let's go. Yeah, hot take delivery with Amazon Prime. Also, an Amazon Prime subscription gives you a free Twitch Prime a month that you can use here on this broadcast, which will allow you to avoid the ad breaks or the ad-free broadcasting experience. Twitch Prime is free, but also a $5 subscription does that too, or an ad block or a VPN. Here's the fucking ad break now, baby. None of you knew that it was coming. None of you.
I told my doctor she wanted to have something. She walked around, she'd get in the hot tub naked. You asked my doctor. I went there and I said, what is wrong with me? I cannot get an erection. She does all this to me. She'll even sit on my lap. He said, Basil, it's psychological. She's more like your daughter. She's more like your daughter's age. You see her as your daughter. It was actually a turnoff. But in court, when they asked her if we had a relationship, she said yes. And the reason was, or they said, were you in a relationship? She said yes. That was a lie.
Pogo tomato time.
She may have wanted it to be more when she tried to part Carl and I, and eventually she did. Mm-hmm. And Carl knew all of this, and I wanted Carl to go to court and testify that she knew all about Anastasia and me treating her like, or calling her like a daughter, and instead Carl took off with another guy. Then when I got out of jail,
I just tuned in 30
Carl's
seconds
back.
ago and Hassan is amped. What did you
She
guys
dumped the
do?
other guy.
Hassan, thanks for being you.
So I fixed her cottage all up. That was
XD.
probably 2.5, 3 months of did her every chance I got, cleaning it up, wiring, plumbing, gave her money. Mm-hmm. She lied to me. She told me she was so
Happy
broke. I
7
gave her, I
month
even pulled my own RSPs out and gave her my last peanuts.
Based off of the accounts from everyone close to Carol
Incel, simp, hand in hand. Two sides, same coin.
Clutton, Borutski's characterization of their relationship is purely delusional. Nobody recalls them being romantically involved. Clutton merely hired Borutski for various repair and carpentry jobs. He would arrive at her residence unannounced so frequently that those around her categorized it as stalking.
All for nothing. It was all for money. She didn't get much. Natalie got the most.
Borutski's relationship with Natalie Warmerdam began pleasantly enough, and she even believed him when he bemoaned his ex-wife's lying in court about domestic abuse that never happened. Over time, however, he became violent toward her and her son too, escalating to the point where on July 27th of 2012, he was arrested and charged with assault and uttering death threats. He served only 30 days in jail and never attended the court-ordered partner assault response.
Bro, if the court system treated like petty theft and a bunch of other shit that like get black people locked in jail in perpetuity like they do like white rapists and domestic abusers, like why don't we just flip the sentencing on that? It's wild, dude. Okay, look, I cover like sexual assault shit like that all the time. And obviously, I'm not like an advocate for worse sentences. But it blows my mind that like people just beat the shit out of women and like, you know, abuse their partners and shit and only go to jail for 30 days. That's not even enough time for him to cool the fuck down.
Program that was part of his parole. This was all before his battery of Anastasia Kuzik.
Anastasia Natalie got about 200,000, 180 or something plus. Well, pretty well all my equipment. And then her son burnt the garage down. Oh, my tools were in there. I got nothing. And, Anastasia would have got me for about 20,000.
Listen, I'm not even advocating for mandatory minimums for domestic abuse. That would be very hypocritical of me. But it does at some point feel like the leniency comes from the experience of the judges in sentencing. It's crazy that it's like sexual harassment, rape, kidnapping of women, which is like another famous case that I recall. Like, all of that stuff is just seen as such, like those things just get such lesser sentencing than the victimless crimes that half the time get you locked up in jail.
And
not just in Canada
Hey,
either.
hey,
that
7
fucking
months of being a
Catholic
Reddit
priest
lounge
got
streamer's
4
fan.
years for molesting like 12-year-old boys. And then got out.
sure. 13 maybe or something like that.
I love this chat hassle. Also, Ajan doesn't count if you're early pogo tomato time.
And then she went back with her boyfriend and she's laughing. Him and her are laughing, calling me the BF. Best friend that'll do anything that she wants.
So, all these women
Used.
have put you through the ringer over the years and used you.
And they're all connected, they all know each other.
They've given you such a hard time. Why do you feel you needed to take on this burden yourself to prove this point after all this suffering you've already gone through, Basil? Like I said, like this is a difficult road you've chosen here. Why are you doing this just to prove a point? Is there not some other way?
I have no idea what you're talking about. What are you talking about other way? I don't know. Explain.
Well,
Half a year pogo.
all these women here that have slighted you or lied to you in some way, cheated on you, and you've killed them all to make this point that the justice system doesn't work. And that road you've chosen is going to have consequences. So what I'm saying is, with all the suffering that you've already done to this point dealing with these 3 women, you know, why are you...
I love this dude. He's Basil by. The only reason why I know why the chatter is saying that, look at the way Basil's sitting.
taking on this burden to draw society's attention to it by yourself?
I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but I think that you not think society...
We finally
should
answered the
open
question,
their
can there
eyes
be
and
too much
change
visibility?
The way
I do.
I'm willing to bet that the bi people in the chat who wanted bi visibility are probably no longer wanting such visibility, too much visibility.
Everything has been taken from me. My job, my health, my family, my dignity,
You've
all
lost.
by the police and people that use the police. That's the
You've
problem.
lost many things.
I've lost everything.
Do you think it's a little bit selfish on your behalf to take those women's lives for you to prove a point? To prove a point.
Selfish? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well,
I haven't got a clue right now what you're saying.
well, these women that you killed is part of a grand scheme to draw for you to draw light on the fact that the justice system apparently doesn't work.
No, it's not a scheme. Where are you getting this from? There's no scheme. I told you. I was reading the Bible, talking to this lady. I went to bed. All I remember was going to sleep.
Wow. We should hear him out. I think he's got a. Hold on. I think he's making a good point.
Or I don't even remember going to sleep. And then I woke up, and I don't even know if I drank coffee. I just went out of the house.
Like, what was he thinking? Like, he's thinking that the Bible is going to absolve him? Like, this one is called the Bible defense. When you do a murder, as long as you can prove that you've read a Bible, you can get away with it for free.
I remember at one point thinking about a zombie.
This is literally the fucking sanest, oh my God. This is the sanest JBP fan. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. What the fuck? Jordan B. Peterson.
Arjan, please
and I
I was
remember
being
I was
toxic and rude the
confused.
other day. I was drunk and deeply regret my
I
behavior.
remember
I
seeing
won't
the
behave
R
that way again. It was
Father
wrong.
over
I'm so sorry.
and over
It was
and
uncharacteristic
over,
of me
and
unlike this top
driving.
of the hour ad break.
And
Please unban tomato
I
time.
said, I was talking to myself out loud, or I think I was. Maybe I wasn't. But I kept saying, God, keep me safe, show me what to do, or stuff, and I don't know what, I don't.
Here Borutski begins transitioning to a representation of his killing spree that differs from what he was putting across earlier. Whereas before, he stated that he was trying to show the world how wrong the justice system is. Now he's beginning to paint a picture where he had no conscious intentions at all, that he was essentially beside himself during the entire episode, heavily implying that a higher power was acting through him. It's a very dubious claim, given, aside from anything else, the systematic execution of the murders. The reason behind wanting to present this narrative is also unclear. It may be a psychological mechanism to lessen his own feelings of culpability. Or perhaps it's to further the notion that these were killings not only sanctioned, but to an extent taken out by God himself. Maybe there's no rationale behind it. Maybe you're just watching the arduous ramblings of a dreary lunatic.
It was like a nightmare, or not a nightmare, a dream, I remember a zombie.
What do you mean you felt like a zombie? What was going on there?
Like I was beside myself, like I was looking at this from over there. I could see myself.
Hold on.
That's the way to look at it. I thought I could see myself walking from over there. Over, beside myself.
But what did you see yourself doing?
Walking from the house to the car. I remember, I don't know, I really don't. I would ask him, God, show me what to do. I remember there was, I don't know if I was seeing a light or seeing it in my head.
Why would God have you kill those women, Basil? That seems kind of counterintuitive. Like, what reason could there be for that?
No, to me it seemed like...
This one is called the filibuster defense. If you continuously talk about a bunch of random nonsense, then the criminal mind oftentimes will assume that the police officer will fall asleep and then he can walk away scot-free.
It seemed like God was trying to show me that the commandment isn't thou shalt not kill, it is thou shalt not murder, and that when somebody, it's murder to kill somebody that's innocent. That's why I couldn't kill myself, because I thought about shooting myself, but I can't do that because I am innocent, I didn't do it wrong. Because that would be me murdering myself.
I couldn't kill myself because I'm innocent, so that would be murder. Incredible.
Does that make any sense?
It does. So, in terms of Carol and Anastasia and Natalie, would you say you killed them or murdered them?
I killed them because they were...
Dude, I'm telling you. This guy's literally a fucking Reddit debate lord.
not innocent. They were guilty. I was innocent.
Could you turn down the
I
volume
done
on TTS just a smidge? I can't hear the interview cause imho.
What's your message in all this?
It is no message, it's vindication.
I do not care that the law says I can't blow above a 0.08 in the breathalyzer. The Bible says that I was drinking Jesus blood. Okay, it's not called drunk driving. It's called drinking Jesus blood and traveling. Obviously, this means I am totally exonerated.
Would have been. But you're not following me here. There's two things. It's like me walking, being the zombie, and me over here looking at the zombie. It's like a lot of what I'm telling you is history of 20 years got to here, and then there's the zombie part. So the guy watching the zombie is me. The guy that's watching the zombie.
Dude, this guy's too stupid to put together like a insanity plea or the automaton or whatever the fuck it's called defense that we saw yesterday. But it still might work because I think this dude's brain cells are rotting. Every moment that he sits with this guy is a moment where he's losing brain cells rapidly. By the end of it, he's gonna be like, "Yeah, I think you're free to go, sir."
Is
like, look at him, dude. He's literally like, "Oh, please stop."
To you? The 20 years of my ex-wife, where it started to.
There's always a reason why something happens.
Does that make any sense?
Of course it is. There's always a reason why things happen, and you get 20 years of reasons. Do you remember what you did after you left Carol's? Does that help? If you think about it like a chronology, when you left Carol's, and somehow you end up at Anastasia's.
I just left Carl's and I said, God, what do I do? And I remember going through a little bit of construction, and I just drove in, and I remember thinking that God is really helping me, because when I went to Carl walked right outside.
Mm-hmm. What did she do?
And then I asked her.
This guy was visibly less pained when this dude was talking about the murders themselves. Like, while he was describing the gruesome details of the horrible actions that this dude committed, he seemed less shell-shocked than having to listen to the most boring murderer in America, in Canada, talking about fucking God. Like, at least be charismatic and creative with your defense, dude. Holy shit.
I said,
Yeah, Canada is America. It's America's hat.
why do you hate me? Or why are you doing this to me?
He's literally sitting over there like, why did we arrest this dude? If I knew this was going to happen, I would literally let him go.
And then I broke the window with my elbow. And I reached in and I unlocked the door. And she said, this is not you, Basil. This is not you. Then she told me that Dave was coming over because the hydro was out. And I said, you're lying to me again.
Where's Jim Smith when you need him? Dude, Jim Smith would have melted this fool already. Jim Smith would have walked away because he's like, okay, you've already admitted that you murdered them. I don't give a fuck what your personal definition is. There's only one definition I care about under this roof. And that is the law, sir. The Canadian Constitution. Defended by judges wearing the weirdest robes that you've ever seen, sir. I'm Jim Smith. And you just got pranked. No, I already ran the top of the hour ad break. I ran it early. Stop pre-firing. You have literally 60 more fucking minutes.
Cable, TV, coil. I picked it up and I hit her with it and I wrapped it around her head. And she just kept saying, this is not you, Basil. This is not you.
Basil,
Ah,
take my hand for a second.
for what?
I just want to shake your hand. I want to thank you for being the guy that you said you are this whole time we've been here, a truthful, good person. It's a rare experience. I get to meet somebody
What?
who actually...
I was right. It literally melted him. Frame melted, boys. Here you have a Sigma male who melted the frame of the beta.
walks to talk to Freechy.
Walks like what?
Yeah. Well, you said you 9 out of 10, you're a truthful person. And you don't lie unless it's to protect somebody, other than the little white lies.
I'm not sure why.
Well, that's what you're doing right now. You're being truthful.
I finally went crazy, didn't I? It wasn't just that day.
It's your other days.
I think a couple of days before it was maybe right through.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Take your time. Take a minute.
Don't touch.
Why didn't you just do the ego up shit earlier, bro? You could have saved yourself 2 fucking hours of wanting to kill yourself. This guy almost got another confirmed kill.
Please. I don't know why I wanted to take the gun out of the apartment because I don't know why. So I took it and I hid it in the bush in a garbage bag. But the certain I wasn't doing that. I see myself doing that. Doesn't it make sense? I was over there. I'm here. I'm like a camera and I can...
Where did you lay it in the bush, Basil?
Just along the road.
It's always really cool and really valid when you start off the argument that you're totally justified in murdering these innocent
I was a
women.
YouTube frog, but I'm awake for stream today.
And then halfway through you switch and you say, well, God did it. And then now you're actually sad that you ended up murdering the women for God. No, he's not schizophrenic. He's just literally throwing darts at a fucking wall, dude, and hoping that one of them sticks because he's too stupid. He's literally too stupid to fucking recognize that the other person is not as dumb as he is. That's all this is. I love that chatters, though, are so quick to just, like, immediately diagnose this person with, like, all different manner of, like, oh, he's depersonalizing, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, he's just making shit up, dude. We saw a legitimate case of someone who had a triggered psychotic attack yesterday. This dude is just making shit up.
Go backward. But it's all fucked up. And
You
you're
listen to that
thinking
spiel and you believe them?
that God's making this easy because Carl came out the door. Because when I got to Anastasia's, she walked out the door. As soon as I walked, wasn't even at the door, she just walked out. And I asked Anastasia, I just said, why did you lie in court? And she said, I didn't. And the gun went off. Because it just lies.
What happened when you went to Natalie's farm on Tuesday?
What happened? I just
Baby
drove
rage.
in, walked in the door, she was sitting there. She went around the corner, I followed her, boom, walked out. That's it.
Detective O'Neill's performance in this interrogation is absolutely commendable, even though if viewed casually, one might think he hasn't been doing all that much. To that end, it's a great example of how much can be achieved through simply observing your subject, settling on the approach most likely to elicit information from them, and then staying in that lane with absolute discipline. Note how much
I think this guy needs help. It's on your soap. Ignorant or mental illness, what the fuck? Dude. I need to find a new name for, like, disability activists who are, like, over-the-top care lords who unironically end up engaging in, like, ableist fucking shit. You know what I mean? Because it's like, dude, you're so stupid. Like, you're such a dumb person. You are such a dummy, dude. Like, one, you're diagnosing a motherfucker over the camera. And two, you're diagnosing them falsely. And lastly, you're falling, and worse, perhaps the worst offense here is that you're falling for his bullshit that was so dumb that even this fucking cop with a cop brain was able to be like, yeah, you're just fucking lying to me. You're out of your mind if you think I'm going to believe anything you're saying. OTS, all able-bodied people with these shitty takes. Yeah, it's like the same... Dude, it's the same energy. Like, the overcorrective Andes unironically have the same energy as, like, the white people who, like, yell at you about, you know, fucking, I don't know, that you did a racism or something.
Try bongos.
Refresh, he said he's not an activist, I think. Well, he's just fucking joking or whatever. What I'm saying is I'm not an activist, Andy. I think they were baiting.
detail Borutski has provided in the last few minutes, with
Yeah, white people yelling at Hispanic people to call themselves Latinx.
limited prompting. Now compare that with his reluctance to engage 3 hours ago.
So one of the reasons I'm here is to give you this opportunity to explain why you killed these 3 girls.
You're putting words in my mouth.
0.8.
Detective O'Neill has taken Borutski from being extremely withholding and surly, all the way to a point where he's divulging how the day's events unfolded, to a level that borders on confiding in his interrogator. The detective has achieved this transformation, not through the use of any flashy tricks, but by simply observing that Borutski's primary desire is to be listened to, and then granting him that wish, all the while feigning a degree of...
Listen, my take's on disability. Someone who's able-bodied and super fucking privileged, are not as bad, okay? At least from where I'm standing. Like, I recognize I have blind spots. Disability stuff is one of them. Gender is another one. When we go beyond, like, you know, the Joe Biden strategy of saying, you know, more than 3, or what did he say? Did he say at least 3? Where I'm standing, dude, come on. I was not fucking standing blind spots, really? Shut the fuck up. Okay, now you're gonna stun lock me. You're literally going to stun lock me because you're see, this is what I mean. They're doing the thing, like people that don't have disabilities are currently doing the thing where they're like overcorrective. Okay, let's keep going.
Understanding of his actions. He's kept confrontational statements, questions and interjections to a minimum, and from there just allowed time to do the rest for him.
And it was funny, it was like I wasn't even pulling the trigger on the gun.
There is never an advantage to taking the interrogation.
It's like, I don't know how to...
Was there anyone else there?
I don't think so. I didn't see anybody.
Where did you go after?
And then drove again. And
Hassle.
and when I was driving, I went to the fat man. I was trying to tell you this. The guy that she was getting those backhoes from. He was the guy that was selling them. I found out where he lived, a little sawmill. Drove around the place. I talked to 2 people. I asked them, is the big guy here? And they all said, both said no. One.
Your chat is awfully critical when they say your disability is valid. When I say I was British. Oh no! Oh my god, dude. That's great. Aiden, that was the funniest fucking thing you could have said today. Aiden, you really brought it home, bruv. He's coming home. He's coming home, bruv.
Okay, so he was there on the other side. The other guy said, no, he's not here. When I drove around, and then I left.
How do you feel about what's happened to these women, Basil?
I don't know what to say to you because there's two of me.
Well,
That doesn't make sense, does it?
well, let's hear 2 perspectives.
It's
I can't. Dude, English people do not deserve a dub, okay? Fuck it. I'm saying it, dude. I held it in for far too long. I don't care about football. Fooey. It's making me mad, especially after how fucking shitty Boris Johnson has been. And how, I guess technically the people deserve it. It's just the country doesn't deserve it, dude. Especially because they get so fucking annoying when they win. It's like, they just can't shut the fuck up. They're the most annoying winners. How can they be allowed to win the Euro Cup after Brexit? That's what I'm saying! That's what makes it worse! They literally fucking left the European Union and they're gonna win the Euro Cup, bruv. They're gonna win the fucking Euro Cup, bruv. We're annoying when we win. Didn't you blast Crab Rave music when Trump lost the election? Wait, that's not annoying. That's a celebration for the entire world. It's not an exclusively fucking English situation where, oh, oi, bruv, the British are gonna fucking rub it in all of our fucking noses, yeah? Immediately after fucking Brexit, yeah? Are we sure Italians deserve it? Yes, they're victim to so much hatred, dude. Italians are victimized by society every day. 1, for being POC, and then 2, for not being recognized as POC. It's a double whammy.
9 months with this imbo.
True. Fucking true. They deserve the world, dude. Alright, let's keep going.
How do you feel right now? Not at the time is what I'm getting at. Right now, me and you in this room.
Empty.
Would you take it back if you could?
Of course you would. But empty.
Easy.
I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Like when I asked Anastasia, why did you lie? Why couldn't she just have said,
LFG.
I'm sorry. And I'm sure now I would have stopped. But that would have been enough. Or C. Because it would have stopped right there, but she still lied. And Carl
Wait.
lies. And I talked to her so much about being honest and the truth and positive.
I like that the video slowly but surely deviates to a position where you just can't hear it or see it anymore.
And she still lied.
Like by the end of the video, there is no more audio left. There's no more video left.
Do you feel
Motherfucker's still going though. Don't get me wrong. He's still going. He's still explaining the situation about God. He saw the
8
phrase
months.
good girl and immediately
Let's go.
stops and reads this. I was actually going to mention that it was like one of the funniest ways to get me to watch a video, but we're too deep into this fucking investigation at this point.
sorry about how it all ended?
Of course I feel sorry.
Hassan is a footy frog mad at Turkey for
Maybe
leaving at
that's
group
why
stage.
I didn't. No, I know why I didn't shoot myself. But I did know that if I kept the gun and waved it around, for sure I would have been shot. I was thinking but not thinking. I was thinking of I think I was thinking a little better.
Him hanging
when I
chicken
sat
feet
down
over the
that
doors to
day
celebrate.
when I started writing. For some reason,
Okay. I can't.
For a four
and the paddy wagon stopped in Renfrew from Ottawa to Renfrew.
I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. I'm putting my fucking foot down.
Piss my pants. And I have a problem, like a hernia. I cannot hold. Then when we went to Pembroke. I thought, I didn't even know. I thought,
Oh my
I was
God!
hanging on there, so
Borutski will go on to represent himself in court, and during those proceedings he will compose himself in just as an insufferable manner as you've witnessed in this video. Borutski consistently refused to speak, present evidence, or cross-examine witnesses. Then toward the end of the proceedings, he complained to Ontario Superior Court Justice Robert Maringer that he was never afforded the opportunity
Bro, he should... That's it. This 51-minute video convinced me I'm no longer anti-capital punishment. I think the state should be able to just, murk some people, okay? This is one of them. Not even for the triple homicide or the domestic abuse over the course of many years, but just this, okay? This alone is enough for capital punishment. I'm losing my fucking mind. He is so fucking insufferable, dude. The worst kind of person, just like thinking he's smart. Just going on and on and on about dumb bullshit, dude. Yeah, polemism is on the rise now.
to present a defense, when it was pointed out by Judge Maringer that he had been provided with aforementioned opportunities and passed on them multiple times. Borutski simply stated that he did not believe him. Ultimately, Basil Borutski was sentenced to 70 years without the possibility of parole for his crimes, meaning he will need to live to the age of 128 before being eligible for release.
Good.
If anyone were to manage to live that long, purely for the sake of making life unpleasant for everyone, it probably would be Basil Borutski. But fortunately, in all likelihood, no one will ever have a good reason to think about him ever again.
Country considering how stupid they are with people not having to wear masks in the stadiums. They are trash.
They boo every other country's national hymn. They shouldn't even host. They shouldn't even be a host country considering how stupid they are with people not having to wear masks.